Welcome back to the Wildlife Garden Project. Today we're going to be talking about pond maintenance for wildlife ponds, and I'm joined by Jack Perks, who is a filmmaker, a photographer, and I think it's fair to say a pond obsessive.
I love me a pond.
How many ponds have you got at the moment?
Four ponds in my garden.
Because when we last visited you, you did have 6 ponds, so I'm a bit scared to ask.
Yeah, so it's a sore point. Thanks for bringing it up. I did a veg patch, and yes, I wanted to grow some veg. I'm down 2 ponds, so I feel like I've let you down.
You have let us down. I thought you were here to talk about ponds, but I think you're going to have to do.
Okay.
So tell me, Jack, why is it important to maintain our ponds?
So obviously ponds are a great thing to have in your garden, and if they're a brand new pond, you're probably not going to have to do that much with it. But over time, once you've got like 4, 5, 6 years, you're going to get detritus building up in your pond, and you may want to intervene. Dead leaves and stuff degrading into your pond can cause deoxygenation problems, and that can affect some of the wildlife in your pond. So removing some of that detritus and just tidying up your pond will just help it out.
What time of year is it best to kind of get on top of these things?
So winter, so that's why we're dressed nice and warm, because it's a little bit cold. We're in November. In the winter, you've got less things swimming around in your pond, and also the plants are kind of going back into themselves. So if you want to remove more plants, it's easier to do it at this time of year.
What are the signs of a healthy pond? You know, what are the kind of things that I need to look out for?
Yeah, so obviously if your pond's doing well, the water should be pretty clear. You know, it doesn't have to be gin clear necessarily, but as long as you can see into your pond. If it's full of weed, you can always kind of peel that back a little bit. And that's another good point. I think the more plants in your pond, the better generally. If there's lots of plants, lots of places, things to hide, there's lots of oxygen coming from those plants. So generally like a green, clear pond is a good pond. And I would say if you've done a new pond, you shouldn't have to tinker with it too much. But once it's maybe 4, 5, 6 years plus, that's when you might need to start thinking about getting involved. If you've got overhanging trees or things like that with leaves going in, those leaves, if you don't remove them, they fall to the bottom, they degrade, and then you get a lot of sludge. And some sludge is good because your invertebrates will be in that, your plants will be feeding off that. But when it builds up, you get a lot of carbon dioxide and other problems. So removing that can help reoxygenate your pond.
So this is pond number 1?
This is pond number 1, yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about this pond?
So this is a raised pond, but it's also dug down a bit into the ground. So you can see it comes up a couple of foot and then it goes down a couple of foot, and it was because it was a native fish pond.
Okay.
That's what I built it as. So I still find newts and frogs and stuff in here, and they're getting in by climbing up that. So if you've got a raised pond, ivy's quite a nice thing to kind of plant around it, and it'll create a ladder for things to get in. Sometimes I have to get in and clean it in my dry suit, and it does look kind of a bit weird because my head's just poking out.
It's really quite deep then.
Yeah, it
really,
is.
really
Yeah,
deep.
it's deeper than it looks. Yeah.
Deeper than a kind of traditional wildlife pond would be.
Yeah, if you were doing this for wildlife, you probably wouldn't need to do the additional 2 foot. You just keep it up there.
What do we need to think about with this pond then in terms of maintenance?
So I think one of the first things, obviously we've just come out of autumn, we're in November now, is leaves going into your pond. You want to avoid as many leaves going in there as possible. You can put up a temporary net if you want to. So like, I don't like having nets over ponds if I can help. I think they're a bit of an eyesore, but it's going to save you a lot of hassle in the long run if you want to stop leaves getting in. So maybe end of September, just put a net over your pond if you've got trees and stuff nearby, and that'll stop the majority of the leaves going in. Obviously, I don't practice what I preach, and I haven't done that, so I have got a load of leaves in my pond. So in that case, then you can get like a net basically, and just have a little scoop around.
Okay.
And try and get as many leaves out as you can.
Is there any particular technique to this to make sure that we're kind of, getting the leaves and the debris rather than anything that we want in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's not too complicated. It's just, I'm trying to be selective, so I'll just sort of scoop around. I don't mind if I get a bit of duckweed. Some people get really funny about duckweed. Like, I don't mind a little bit in the pond. It is valuable for some wildlife. Obviously, too much duckweed can be an issue, and you can scoop that out as well because it kind of block out aquatic plants. But yeah, there's no technique. If you can hold a net and you can get that end in the water, you're good to go.
Simple. Scoop out those leaves.
Yeah, basically. I suppose people might think, well, why would you have your pond near a tree if that's going to be a problem? But like, you can't always choose where you want your pond. Sometimes where there's space. But in the summer, those trees shade the pond, and that's invaluable because you don't want it to get too hot. So it's all about compromise and just what works for your own garden. Insects will be blown off into the pond, and that will feed things as well. So it's not a bad thing to have trees near your pond, but obviously the downside is leaves will go into it.
Yeah, okay, but that's fine because all we need to do is get a big net and scoop them out again.
And turn it into a family activity.
Why not?
Have a scoreboard. Go nuts.
So we need some quite elaborate equipment for this, don't we?
It's pretty good. Never run with scissors. We've got some scissors. So yeah, I've got all this marginal vegetation here. It's got quite overgrown, so I'm going to kind of reduce some of that out of the pond. So basically, some of it you can just pull up. You get the roots out. A lot of this is going to rot down over the winter, and as that rots down, it's going to release carbon dioxide in the pond, which will reduce oxygen. And for certain animals, that's going to be detrimental. So if we can just remove that now before it gets really cold, that's going to help the pond out. And also, I don't want the pond to be too covered. I like to have little windows where I can look into the pond and see things. So, for example, I'm going to clear this area, but I might just leave that a little bit more wild. So
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of let people think that you have to get rid of all the vegetation. You want some of it in there. But I'm just going to create like a little window.
And are there any plants that we should be kind of just leaving alone, or can we use this approach with most pond plants?
So I think it's more the marginals, because in the winter, the oxygenators typically die down anyway, and you want to leave those in, obviously, to come back up next year. And they can be quite fragile. So if we were to remove like hornwort or any other kind of pond weeds, they're quite brittle, and you might be doing more damage than good at this time of year. So we'll leave those, but my dog's kicking the hell out of each other.
Get involved.
But yeah, so it's more the hardy plants that I'm sort of taking out than the kind of mushy ones. Hello. They're just going nuts. Okay.
This is not great timing, eating.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, dogs and ponds don't mix generally. When you've got all the stuff that you've took out of the pond, it's worth just checking if you have got any hitchhikers on it, like if there's any dragonfly larvae, because we don't want to harm them. So you can kind of chuck those back in your pond, and then this can go in a compost heap if you want to kind of rot it down, or your compost bin. And some of it might even have roots on it. So like this is water mint with the roots there. And if you really want to, you could pop this up and then put it elsewhere in the pond, or if you've got a friend with a pond. So dividing plants, winter's a really good time of year to do that, because they kind of retreat back into themselves a bit. And they're not growing as vigorously. So this is a good time of year to divide pond plants as well.
People talk a lot about the idea of when we clear any vegetation out of the pond, kind of put it on the side, and then the creatures can kind of get back in. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I think so. Like most pond creatures, they can walk on land to some degree. So yeah, if you are taking out whether it's pond plants, whether it's sludge, whether it's just the water, it's not a bad idea to just leave it on the side for an hour or two, and that just gives a chance for anything to crawl back in. You could even have a bucket and take it in the bucket to loosen anything, and get rid of it. And yeah, to prove a point, there's a damselfly here. So like if I just move this out of the way, it's come off the reeds, it's just going to go back into the water on his own steam. So yeah, if you leave it there for an hour or so, things will move in.
Perfect timing there from that damselfly larvae.
I know, I can't believe that. A lot of people kind of pick out algae as a problem in ponds. All ponds will have algae. It's generally caused by too much sunlight in the pond. So that's where we mentioned like having a tree nearby to shade the pond can help with that. But if your pond is the water's looking very green and you've got a lot of algae, there are a couple of things you can do. If it's the filamentous algae, the kind of bindy stuff, you can just remove it. You can literally just take it out by hand. And because that's full of the nutrients, you're physically removing those nutrients. And if you keep removing it enough, that should reduce in time. Same thing we were doing with the pond weeds. Just leave it on the side of the pond. Anything will crawl out. Put it in your compost bin after. You're good to go. If it's the water that's green, you've got that microscopic algae, then you may be better off using barley straw, which is kind of like the classic thing. So you can either buy this, or you already in a bag, or you could just get some barley straw, put it in there. I've never had that problem myself, so I've not used it, but I'm told it works, and that's a nice kind of natural remedy to reduce it.
Talk to me about something, Jack. Talk to me about sludge.
Just anything, you need counselling or sludge, right? So yeah, it's not the sort of thing you have to do every year. I don't want people thinking like, oh, every year I've got to empty my pond of sludge. It's probably like every 4 or 5 years, maybe, if you need to, depending on what's going into the pond and how hot you are on removing it. All you need to do, or what I'm going to do anyway, is use a net. So I've got a kind of thick net here, go to the bottom of the pond, drag it along the bottom, and you see all that gunk.
Oh, sludgy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Take a step back.
I just pre-warn you. And we're going to empty that into a bucket. Oh, that smells good.
Nice.
That smells good. Can you see actually there's like almost like an oily slick?
Yeah.
So that's all that kind of trapped gas and stuff being released. So you can tell it was causing a bit of a problem in this pond.
Okay.
That gets the bigger material. And then for the finer silt, I've got one of these little river fly nets. And the same sort of thing really, just down.
Deep.
It is. hold my legs. And then you see like all the air that's being disturbed. So yeah, quite a lot of gunk, and we'll just put that in the bucket as well.
How do we know kind of when we're done with this?
You want some silt in there. Silt isn't necessarily a bad thing in small doses, but it's just reducing the amount of it. So I would probably do a few buckets load just to get the number down. I'll filter through that as well to make sure that there are any dragonfly nymphs or any bigger things that I can try and save. Obviously, I can't, because this is a raised pond, I can't pour the silt on the side because it's just going to go back in. If your pond was ground level, you could potentially just pour the silt at the side of the pond or onto a mat or something and let things crawl back in, and then put it in a compost heap. But yeah, I'll sort through that in the bucket and just make sure any critters are okay.
I'm probably going to leave you to that job. I've got somewhere
You don't want
to be.
No? Oh, okay. That's really good of you. Thanks, Laura.
So we're pretty much there on the pond maintenance now. I've got a nice, thriving, healthy pond here.
Eventually.
Got a bit more to do
Yeah.
once I get home with my feet up and a cup of tea. But
Yeah, you just make sure you're nice and comfortable while I'm still like digging out the pond. But that, as long as that's the case, yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I would recommend. What we've done to help your pond out, and they're the main points.
Is there anything we need to be thinking about for different kinds of ponds? So if somebody has, we've mentioned a couple of bits, but if someone has got a more traditional kind of dug it in wildlife pond, or even a mini pond, or is there anything we need to think about in terms of maintenance?
Yeah, I mean obviously the smaller the pond, in theory the easier it is to manage. Like, so if it was a smaller pond and the water was really bad, you could just change the water. Like if it's like washing bowl size, that's going to help just fill it up with rainwater and sort of problem solved.
To summarise then, yearly removal of leaves and general debris in kind of autumn, winter time, the trimming back of marginal vegetation, keeping on top of algae if it's even a problem, and then finally once every 4 years or so, removal of the sludge.
Yeah, it's not a yearly thing, just as and when, if you need to remove a bit of sludge, yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, thanks so much for joining us,
No.
sharing your advice and your tips on pond maintenance.
I love it, why not?
And I'm going to leave you now, and I'll leave you to your sludge and your sorting.
I know, I love it, let's do it.
Thanks, Jack.